Look, I don't care how you feel. Show up anyway. You think success is about how you feel. You think the greats felt like showing up every single day? No, but they did it because they made a commitment, not just a decision. That's the difference between average and phenomenal. The ability to show up every single day, even when you're tired, even when you broke, even when nobody is clapping for you. Winning today isn't about making one massive leap. It's about stacking the little wins. It's about mastering the next decision, the next hour, the next moment. You see, the problem with most people is they want to skip steps. They want to jump from average to amazing overnight. They want the results without the repetition. But success doesn't work like that. Success is slow, it's boring, it's unglamorous. It's the little choices done with excellence, done with purpose, done consistently that build momentum. You don't become great by accident. You become great by waking up and making the bed with intention, by drinking water instead of soda, by choosing a 30-minute workout when your body says chill, by focusing during that 1-hour study block instead of scrolling through your phone. Small victories. That's how you build identity. That's how you create separation. Champions aren't made in the spotlight. They're made in those quiet, lonely hours where nobody's clapping, where nobody's watching, but the work is still getting done. You've got to understand the psychology behind this. Every time you win a small battle, whether it's showing up when you don't feel like it, resisting temptation, or staying locked in for one more task, you reinforce to yourself that you're someone who finishes. You build internal trust. You become yourself, you become dangerous. Because now you're not relying on motivation. You're not chasing hype. You're anchored in belief, built by proof. Proof that you can show up again and again, no matter what. Stacking small wins also creates something powerful, momentum. And momentum is the cheat code to life. Once you've got momentum, discipline gets easier. Confidence starts growing. People start noticing. But momentum doesn't show up overnight. It's built brick by brick, action by action, decision by decision. You've got to treat every action like it matters, because it does. Nothing you do is insignificant. That 5-minute journaling session, it's not small. That one chapter you read, not small. That one email you sent, not small. It's all a part of the engine that moves you forward. And don't make the mistake of waiting for the big opportunity before you go all in. The big opportunity is hidden inside today's small responsibilities. The big moments are shaped by how you handle the little ones. You're not going to get the spotlight if you can't handle the shadows. You're not going to be trusted with the stage if you can't be faithful in silence. So stop despising the small stuff. Embrace it. Own it. Master it. Every step matters. Every task matters. Every rep, every word, every choice, it all counts. People love to talk about goals, but goals without systems are just dreams. You can't control the outcome, but you can control your input. That's why the daily wins matter. That's why you focus on what's in your hands today, not what's 5 years away. You want to lose weight? Don't worry about losing 50 pounds. Focus on today's meals. You want to build a business? Don't worry about 6-figure. Focus on building value today. You want to become the best version of yourself? Don't get overwhelmed by the vision. Focus on how you speak, act, move, and think today. That's how you win. Small wins compound. They build momentum like a snowball rolling downhill. But the opposite is also true. Small losses add up too. You skip one workout, then another. You snooze once, then again. You make one lazy decision, and then it becomes normal. You've got to be conscious. You've got to be deliberate. Because either your habits are building you or they're breaking you. There's no neutral. And it all starts with the choices you make today, right now. The beauty of small wins is that they're always available. You don't have to wait. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect conditions. You can win by choosing to be present, by showing up with energy, by giving just 1% more than yesterday. You don't need to be the most talented. You just need to keep showing up. That's what separates winners. They don't rely on talent. They rely on talent. They rely on discipline. They don't hope for results. They build them day by day, step by step. And when you stack enough small wins, something incredible happens. You start to shift your identity. You stop saying, I'm trying, and you start saying, I'm trying, and you start saying, this is who I am. You're no longer just someone with goals. You're someone who executes. You're no longer talking about potential. You're living in purpose. That shift is everything. Because once your identity catches up with your actions, you become unstoppable. Now you're not forcing growth, you're flowing in it. So understand this. You don't need to crush every moment to win the day. You just need to win more than you lose. You just need to string together enough intentional action that tilt the scale in your favor. How the pros do it, that's how the greats are built. You're not always going to feel like it. That's the truth. Nobody wants to hear. There are going to be days when you're exhausted, when your mind is cluttered, when life hits you with distractions, stress, and setbacks. And in those moments, you got a choice to make. Do you let your feelings dictate your actions, or do you let your discipline drive your mission? Because I promise you this, if you only show up when you feel like it, you will lose. But if you learn how to move with discipline, you'll win long term, no matter how you feel in the short term. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. Even when you don't feel like doing it, your feelings are temporary. They shift with the weather, with your sleep, with one bad phone call. But your vision has to be built on something stronger. Your dreams can't depend on motivation, because motivation is like a spark. It starts the fire, but it won't keep it burning. Discipline is the wood you throw on that fire every day, whether you're excited or not, whether you're energized or drained. You think the grace felt good every single day. You think world-class performers only work when everything's going their way? No, they've trained their minds to show up regardless. They've made discipline their anchor. That's why they win. That's why they separate from the pack. When others are ruled by how they feel, they're ruled by how they've trained. Their discipline becomes automatic. And that's what you got to build in yourself. You can't wait for the mood to be right, for the energy to be high, or the inspiration to hit. Because life doesn't work like that. Life is unpredictable. And when life throws you off balance, it's your discipline that brings you back to center. It's your discipline that keeps you grinding, focused, locked in, even when everything else is falling apart. You need something unshakable. You need a system. You need a code. You need to wake up and move because it's what you do, not because you're in the mood for it. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's not always fun, but it's always worth it. It's what makes the difference when the talent's even, when the competition is tough, when everything is on the line. The one who moves based on principle will always outlast the one who moves based on preference, because feelings fade, but discipline stays. And don't confuse discipline with punishment. Discipline is freedom. It gives you control over your destiny. It gives you power over your impulses. It gives you consistency over chaos. When you live by discipline, you don't wait for opportunity, you create it. You don't hope for results, you produce them. You don't wonder who you'll be, you decide. You say you want to be great, but are you willing to show up tired? Are you willing to show up when it's raining, when it's lonely, when it's quiet? That's the test. That's where real growth happens. Because everybody shines when it's game day, but the greats shine because they showed up for every single practice when nobody was watching. They showed up on the cold morning, on the late nights, in the gym alone, on the track with no crowd. Discipline made them. When you're disciplined, you build habits, and those habits build your character. Over time, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop arguing with your excuses. You stop giving your emotions a vote. It becomes automatic. You get up, you work, you show up, you keep going. And every time you do, you're stacking bricks on the foundation of your future. There are people more talented than you, people who started ahead of you, people with more resources, more connections, more support. But if you move with discipline, you can outlast them. You can outwork them. Because talent fades without structure. But discipline creates results day after day, year after year. It's not about who starts strong. It's about who stays consistent. So don't chase feelings, chase discipline. Don't get caught waiting for the perfect moment. Start now, move now, grind now. Whether you feel like it or not, the work you do on the days you don't feel like it, that's the work that counts the most. That's the work that sets you apart. That's what proves you're serious. Every time you push through the pain, every time you rise above the excuse, you get stronger. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You become the kind of person who doesn't fold. You become reliable. You become unstoppable. You become a warrior. Not because life is easy, but because you are disciplined enough to keep showing up no matter what. So tomorrow, when you wake up and you don't feel it, show up anyway. When you're tired, show up anyway. When it hurts, show up anyway. When you're doubting yourself, show up anyway. Because that discipline, that's your weapon. That's your weapon. That's your edge. And if you use it right, there's nothing in this world you can't accomplish. The grind doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't pause when you're tired. It doesn't slow down because you had a bad day. And it definitely doesn't feel sorry for you when life gets tough. The grind is always there, always moving, always demanding. And it only rewards those who show up ready to fight every single day. You can make all the excuses in the world, but the grind, it's not listening. It only recognizes execution, hunger, and heart. Too many people want sympathy from success. They want success to understand their pain, their background, their struggles. They want to be rewarded just for trying. But the truth is, the grind doesn't respond to effort. It responds to results. It doesn't matter how rough your past was or how many times you failed. If you want to win, you have to rise, grind, and push beyond all that. You can't let excuses become your identity. Once you start believing your excuse, stop growing. You stop fighting. You stop fighting. You stop evolving. Everybody's got a reason why they can't. Everybody's got a story. When they didn't have support, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the connections. I was dealing with anxiety. I had too much stress. I get it. Life is heavy. But let me tell you something real. The grind don't care. It won't slow down for you. It won't bend to your circumstances. It won't wait until you feel better. You either rise to the level of the grind or you get left behind. The grind is neutral. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't give handout. It doesn't give handout. It doesn't feel sorry for you. And that's the beauty of it, because it means anybody can win if they're willing to pay the price. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. If you show up, put in the work, and refuse to quit, the grind will open the door. But you have to meet it with commitment, with discipline, with a no matter what mindset. You've got to stop negotiating with your goals. You can't say, I'll work if I feel good, or I'll grind when it's convenient. That's not how this works. The grind is not part-time. It's not seasonal. It's not weekend work. It's a lifestyle. You wake up and you go to war every single day. Not because you always want to, but because that's what greatness requires. There will be days when you want to quit. Days when everything in you is screaming to take it easy. Days when your body is sore, your mind is foggy, and your heart feels empty. But those are the days that count the most. Those are the days that build champions, because anyone can work when it's easy. Anyone can smile when the results are coming in. But it's the ones who push through pain, who grind through chaos, who hustle through hell. Those are the ones who rise to the top. You have to be willing to do what others won't, to get up earlier, to stay up later, to repeat the process even when it's boring, even when it feels like nothing's changing, because the grind is slow. It's thankless. It's lonely. But if you stay locked in, if you stay focused, it will transform your life. It will mold you into someone stronger than your excuse is. Someone who doesn't flinch when things get tough. Someone who doesn't break under pressure. Stop telling yourself you can't because of your past. Stop blaming your environment. Stop hiding behind your story. Your struggle isn't a curse. It's a weapon. It's what built your grit, your fight, your fire, your fire. Use it. Turn your pain into power. Let the grind sharpen you. Let it humble you. Let it stretch you. Because once you commit to the grind, once you stop making excuses, nothing can hold you back. It's not going to be easy. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to face criticism. You're going to face moments where everything feels like it's falling apart. But that's where the transformation happens. That's where you learn who you really are. The grind will strip away your weakness, your doubt, your fear. It will reveal your strength, your resilience, your power. But only if you stick with it. Only if you keep showing up no matter how hard it gets. You can cry, but don't quit. You can fall, but get back up. You can scream, but don't stop moving. Because the grind is unforgiving, but it's also fair. It will give you exactly what you earn, nothing more, nothing less. And if you want to win, if you want to live a life most people only dream about, you got to earn it. Every rep, every step, every sacrifice, stack it, build it, own it. Expect it to be easy. Expect it to be worth it, because when you look back, you won't remember the comfort. You'll remember the climb. You'll remember how you kept pushing when others gave up. You'll remember how you became someone the grind couldn't break. So stop giving your power to your excuses. Take it back. Show up. Lock in. And grind like your future depends on it, because it does. Success isn't just built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. In those early mornings when nobody's watching. In those late nights when no one's clapping. In the silence where the only sound is your own breath, grinding through the reps, pushing through the pain. The truth is, greatness is born behind the scenes. What the world sees on stage is just a highlight reel. But the real story, the blood, sweat and tears, that happens when nobody's looking. That's where champions are made. You gotta fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. Everybody wants the prize, but few are willing to pay the price. They want the recognition, the applause, the lifestyle, but they don't want to do the boring, painful, day after day work that success demands. The process is ugly. It's repetitive. It's lonely. There are no cameras, no cheerleaders, no shortcuts. Just you, your purpose, and the work. And if you can commit to that work without needing validation, you become dangerous. Because now you're self-fueled. Now you don't need motivation, you've got mission. When you train in silence, you learn to trust yourself. You learn to hold yourself accountable. Nobody's there to pat you on the back or tell you to keep going. You've got to be your own coach, your own cheerleader, your own motivator. And that kind of discipline, that kind of self-leadership, it creates warrior. It builds people who don't fold under pressure because they've already fought harder battles in private. Every rep you do in the dark is preparing you for the light. Every early morning run, every extra set, every late night study session, those moments are stacking up. They're creating momentum. They're sharpening your edge. And when the time comes to perform, to lead, to shine, you won't have to get ready because you stay ready. That's what private preparation does. It builds unshakable confidence. People see the success and say, man, they're lucky. They don't see the years you put in when nobody was paying attention. They don't see the sacrifices, the losses, the tears you wiped on your own. But you saw them. You lived them. And that's what makes the success so powerful. It's not that the world claps for you. It's that you know what it took to earn it. It's that the person you became and finally breathe in the light. This journey isn't about applause. It's about evolution. Every time you show up and nobody's there, that's your moment. That's your edge. Because most people won't. Most people won't train when no one's watching. Most people won't push when the room is empty. But you're different. You're different. You don't do it for attention. You do it because it's who you are. You do it because your purpose means more than popularity. And let me tell you something real. Your preparation in the dark will shine when the lights come on. When the moment comes to lead, to speak, to play, to act, you won't hesitate because you've already been there. You've already visualized it. You've already built yourself up for it. You've bled for it. So when your time comes, you won't shrink. You'll rise. Because this isn't new to you. It's just the world finally catching up to what you already knew. You don't grow in comfort, you grow in commitment. You grow when you get up at 5 a.m. and hit the gym before the sun rises. You grow when you study until your eyes burn. You grow when you sacrifice parties for progress. And you do it quietly. Not for Instagram, not for likes, not for the camera. You do it because you're building something real, and real doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be consistent. The world celebrates the results, but the process is where the power lives. The grind behind closed doors, the moments when you could have quit but chose not to. That's where the foundation is laid. And if you can stay faithful in the hidden season, you'll be unstoppable in the public ones. Because no storm can shake someone who was built in silence, in solitude, in sweat. So when you're putting in the work and nobody sees it, keep going. When you're doing the right thing and no one is clapping, keep going. When you're grinding and nobody notices, keep going. Because that quiet season is preparing you for a moment that's bigger than you can imagine. And when that moment comes, all the lonely work, all the late nights, all the unnoticed effort, it will all make sense. Keep building when no one's watching. Keep grinding when no one's cheering. Keep showing up when no one else will. Because you're not working for applause. You're working for legacy. And legacy isn't given. It's earned in the dark alone, one step at a time. When you make the decision to show up every single day, you're not just checking off a box. You're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. You're not just repeating actions. You're building identity. Every time you show up when you could have skipped, when you could have made an excuse, when you could have taken the easy way out, you're telling yourself, this is who I am. And over time, that consistency rewires your mindset. It doesn't just build routines, it builds character. People often think change comes from massive one-time actions, but real transformation is quiet. It's subtle. It's formed in the day in, day out repetition of small decisions made with intention. You show up to the gym when it's raining. You study when you're tired. You work on your craft when nobody's pushing you. These aren't just actions, they're declarations. They're proof that your dream means something to you. And the more you repeat them, the more they become part of your identity. You're not just trying to succeed. You're becoming someone who succeeds. There's a difference. Trying relies on willpower. Becoming relies on systems. And systems are built through consistency. When you show up daily, even in the smallest way, you're training yourself to act with discipline, not emotion. And that's where the power is, when your actions are no longer determined by how you feel in the moment, but by who you believe you are and who you're becoming. You want to be confident? You want to be unstoppable? Then keep showing up. Because confidence isn't a feeling. It's the result of kept promises. Every time you follow through, every time you show up when it's hard, you build trust with yourself. And that trust is what turns uncertainty into belief. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they don't trust themselves. They've broken too many promises to their own potential. But you're different. You're rebuilding that trust one action at a time. Identity is shaped by repetition. If you tell yourself you're disciplined, but your actions say otherwise, your brain won't believe it. But if you keep showing up, even when it's inconvenient, your mind begins to shift. It starts to believe, I'm a finisher. I'm committed. I do hard things. And once your identity shifts, everything changes. Now it's no longer a struggle to do the work. It becomes automatic because it's who you are. People ask, how do I stay consistent? Stop trying to stay consistent and stop trying to stay consistent and start becoming the kind of person who doesn't skip. Make it part of your identity. Don't say I'm trying to eat healthy. Say I'm someone who takes care of their body. Don't say I'm trying to be productive. Yeah, I'm someone who uses their time wisely. Don't say I'm trying to get better. Say I'm committed to growth. When you identify with the behavior becomes part of you. And once it's part of you, it becomes natural. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need permission. You just need to decide who you want to be and start acting like it now. Not tomorrow, not next week, nah. Start stacking small wins. Start reinforcing your values with action. Want to be a writer? Write every day, even if it's just a sentence. Want to be fit? Move your body, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Want to be successful? Wake up with intention, even when nobody's watching. It's not about doing it all. It's about doing something every day. And when it gets hard, and it will, that's the moment you grow the most. That's when the decision to show up carries the most weight. Anybody can grind when it's easy. But when you show up tired, frustrated, discouraged, that's when your identity levels up. That's when the work is no longer about the task. It's about your evolution. You're building grit. You're building pride. You're building resilience. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's who you are now. And the best part, once you build that identity, nobody can take it from you. Life might hit you. You might get knocked down. But your habits, your discipline, your belief, they'll stay because they're not based on emotion or trends. They're built into your DNA. You'll rise again, not because of motivation, but because of who you are. So don't wait to feel like it. Don't wait to be in the mood. Show up anyway, again and again, until then, unlock something you do. It's who you are, a person who doesn't flinch, a person who doesn't fold, a person who shows up every single day. That's how you win. That's how you transform. That's how you become unstoppable.